Hey guys, it's Felicity here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I was actually planning on doing something I haven't done before, and that is making a fashion series. So in this series, I'm basically going to be giving some tips on how to improve your outfits, and then you can take those tips to apply to your own outfits. I decided to do this because you guys seem to like the fashion videos that I have made of me making outfits. So I thought, why not give you some tips and tricks on how to make those yourself. So for the first thing that we have to do in this fashion series is we are going to talk about color theory. Also, before I get started, I just want to say that this series is going to be 5 parts long, just like my Components of a Mill Split series, which is also a series I have on my channel that you can check out. But without further ado, let's get started. So what is color theory? Color theory is a collection of rules and guidelines that help you understand how colors work in relationship to one another. The reason why color theory is important is it helps you make outfits that look good color-wise. One of the things that you can use to help you with this is color wheels, and I will have an image of a color wheel on screen. So now that you know what color theory is, I'm going to be talking about how color theory can be used in outfits and just anything that involves color in general, like coloring. But mostly this is about fashion. So yeah, but color theory is also applied to other things other than fashion as well. You guys probably know what primary, secondary, and tertiary colors are, but in case you don't, here's a quick reminder. Primary colors are colors that cannot be made out of other colors. These colors are blue, red, and yellow. Secondary colors are colors that are made by mixing two primary colors together. Blue and yellow will make green, yellow and red will make orange, and then blue and red will make purple. Tertiary colors are when you mix a secondary color with a primary color. Some examples of this is mixing purple and red together will give you red-violet. Mixing yellow and green together will give you yellow-green, and so on and so forth. So now that you know what that is, let's move on to warm and cool tones. Technically speaking, warm tones are tones that are brighter on a color wheel, and cool tones are tones that are darker on a color wheel. But warm and cool tones are usually associated with the feelings they evoke. For example, red, orange, yellow, pink, all the warm tone colors, those ones are usually associated with things like brightness and cheerfulness and stuff like that. That's why red is usually associated with passion and yellow is usually associated with happiness. And for cool tones can be associated with gloominess and sadness, but they're not always. For example, blue is sometimes associated with things like sadness, but it can also be intelligence. That's a little fun fact. And also, on the other hand, green is usually associated with things like calmness and serenity. So basically, cool tones can be gloominess, but they're more gloominess and sadness, but they're more often associated with things like calmness. And then warm tones are more for like brightness and cheerfulness. And I think if you guys know what things I wear for a wardrobe, you know what kind of tones I go with mostly. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Before I did my research, I thought hue, tone, and shade were all the same thing. They are not the same thing, but they are related to each other. Hue is what we think of when we imagine a color. Take purple, for example. When we imagine the color purple, we think of how we see it on a color wheel. Tone is how light or dark a color is. And shade is basically adding black to a color to make it darker. Now, monochromatic is basically just the same color but a bunch of different tones. For example, take these two items of clothing, for example. They are both pink, but they're just different shades of pink. This one is a darker pink, or like a hot pink, and this one's like a more pastel pink. And color intensity is basically what we think. No, wait. Sorry. Basically, color intensity is just what I talked about with tone. It's how light or dark a color is. The lighter a color is, the lighter or brighter it is, the more intense it is. The darker it is, the less intense it is. Okay, let's get to the next part. Now that you know the basics of color, it's time to use everything we talked about and figure out how to use it in an outfit. So now we're going to move on to complementary colors. Complementary colors are basically colors that are right across from each other on a color wheel. They're called complementary colors because they well complement each other. So take green and pink, for example. They are both on opposite sides of the color wheel, or purple and yellow, or orange and blue. Now, split complementary colors is a little bit similar. Basically, you're going to find a color, for in this instance, pink, and find the color and find its complementary color, in this case green, and then we're going to take the two colors next to that. So in this case, it would be green and yellow. So that gives you a combination of pink, green, and yellow. Analogous colors are colors that are all next to each other on a color wheel. An example of this would be pink, purple, and red. Those three colors are all next to each other on a color wheel. Triadic colors are colors that are all equally spaced on a color wheel. It's called triadic because it will make a triangle on your color wheel and there will leave 3 spaces in between, which is why it's called triadic. And here are a couple of examples of triadic colors. And that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you liked this video of me explaining color theory, then stick around for more of this fashion series. And I am actually going to be including bloopers at the end of this video, which I usually don't do, but on one particular part in this, I had a lot of mess ups, so I thought it would be funny if I put like a blooper thing at the end. So this isn't actually the end of the video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to comment. Actually, can't comment, sorry. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this. Anyways, bye guys. I'll see you next time. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Before I did my research, I thought hue, tone, and shade were all the same thing. they do relate to each other, but they're not the same. Hue is basically what we think of when we imagine a color on a color wheel. For example, let's take the color purple. When we imagine that color, we think of how we see it on a color wheel. Tone is how... I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Before I did my research, I thought hue, tone, and shade were all the same thing. They are not the same thing, but they are related to each other. Basically, hue is what we think of when we imagine a color. More usually how we imagine it on a color wheel. Let's take the color purple for example. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When